Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizTalk World Talk Show presented by ClickAway Creators. Today, we have Jenny Dempsey with us. Jenny is a customer experience manager for FruitStand.com with over 16 years of building and leading customer service and experience teams. She is also the co founder of a customer service blog, CustomerServiceLife.com. Jenny has been recognized over the years for her work, including the IZMI Top 25 Thought Leaders of 2021 and accepting 2019-2020 Cloud Cherry CX Influencer Champion Award. Jenny loves being an auntie on her beautiful, neat, traveling the world, signing and hanging out with her toothless rescue cats. She lives in sunny San Diego, California. Thank you so much for joining us, Jenny. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you, Vinay. It is so great to be here.
It's completely a pleasure, and we would also kind of love to learn more about you from yourself. So, if we can get started, and if you can help us with a brief introduction about yourself and tell us more about your journey so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I kind of fell into customer service and customer experience over about 16 years ago now. I was in college and I found a bulletin board, literally a cork board. Like, it was so old school, it's not online. And I found a part-time customer service frontline role. I had never worked in anything like that before. Went to the interview in jeans and got the role. And once I started working in that, I kind of realized, ooh, I like helping customers. Like, this is great. And it helped that the company was also incredibly supportive and fun and interesting. It was a web hosting domain registration company. So I learned a lot. And from there, I stayed with that company for 10 years, working my way up to supervisor, manager, and managing small teams, small specialty teams, but also helping to co-manage the 24-seat contact center team. So I learned a lot and it was exciting, and then eventually moved on to a new role and became a director of customer care, and then kind of just moved around to different companies to kind of understand how I can help build support teams from nothing. So one of my favorite things to do is there's a blank slate, there's nothing there, and I'll come in and I'll basically just build it up from the ground and create structure, process, and systems to delight customers. And that's what I'm currently doing at Fruit Stand. And it is a delicious opportunity because it's working with really cool different types of unique produce items, supporting small farms and supporting the customers who eat everything and hearing how they enjoy it or how they don't, and working with the team to create amazing experiences for them.
Oh, amazing. So for all our viewers, we have a customer experience champion today with us, been rewarded many a times for what she does, and she knows the best how you can really make a structure around making your customer's experience flawless. So tell us a little bit more about customer experience. I mean, for those small startups who can't really afford a big team to kind of support their customers, how they can really get started, and some kind of insights for them to be able to create it right from the ground.
Absolutely. So one of the biggest things that I can share for teams that don't have that budget, that may only have one or two people on their customer experience team, is the first step is to really map out the journey, and not only map it out, but live it. So have the entire team go through the sign up process. I know it sounds so simple, but I can tell you so many companies don't do this. And then it's kind of like they just think, oh, someone else will do it, but or we'll wait till we hear from customers. But like, wait, let's step back. Like, we're all new to this. This is a brand new thing. Let's all go through it together. And so literally clicking on different links and going through the process, signing up for things, ordering things, whatever it might be, and getting a feel for how it works. Sometimes even for small startups like that, having your friends do it and going through it and getting feedback, and really starting small and very detailed and factual about what did you click? How did you get from point A to point B? What was that like? How did it make you feel? Answering these types of questions and really starting from there. And it sounds, again, so basic, but it's sometimes something that folks don't do, and really just building up from there. What people are saying, getting some bugs fixed, how you can do the basics at first, and really excel at that, and then build on it. And also making sure, of course, to have your communication channels in place. So how are you going to talk to customers? What channels will you use? Will it be social media, email, phone, text? What is that going to look like for you? And having that kind of set around, the one or two that you want to start with, simply because I've also seen some companies, they're like, oh, sorry, we have a siren going on, but some companies will start with all of the channels, every social media channel, everything, and that's cool. But the thing is, that's a lot of volume for one or two people to handle on the support side as well as through customer experience. How are you going to make sure everything stays together? And so starting small is really the biggest advice that I have, and build from there, because you're not going to stay small forever. But starting small is going to help you support the customers in the beginning.
Absolutely, and I think you also made us realize that a lot of times the new startups, the new businesses, these one-person companies that kind of start from the seed, they think that customer experience comes post sales, but that's the other way around. Actually, you have to become a customer first and kind of experience that journey before you actually get into sales. So you should know exactly how a customer is going to feel once they are on board. What do you say about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. It happens before the sale. And after the sale, there's a lot to learn too, of course, but knowing what to expect, or, kind of looking into what the customer might experience as they go through and before they decide, will help you actually have them complete a sale. You're more likely to get people to complete the sale if you've paid attention to the experience before. So really mapping out the journey, starting small, and really looking at that experience from not just this broad picture on a spreadsheet or a document, but going through it, clicking things, getting people outside of it. Like you mentioned, Vinay, like one person may be starting this company and you're really in the weeds, like you're building it. So you may not see it the same way that a customer might. So get a friend in there, have them look at it, hire someone to do it, or create a test group where they go through and then maybe they'll get a free product later. And so really getting the other eyes, or if you bring on new employees, this is something I love to do with new customer service agents, bringing their customer experience agents on the team, bringing them in and having them, before they even have training, go through like a sign up process. What is that like for them? Getting that fresh eye feedback is incredible, and it will give you so much insight into things that you may not see because you're in it all day, and you may not see things the way that someone with fresh eyes will.
Absolutely. So this is one great advice for all those small startups, people who are willing to start on something. They have a great idea. If you kind of are building right now something for your customers, you know that thing in and out. So you might not be able to see it right from the customer's eye. And if in case you want to create that experience great for your customers, make sure that you have fresh eyes looking forward to it, going through that journey and understanding the whole process and sharing that fresh feedback with you. That's going to really helpful. That's a great insight, Jenny. I think a lot of people will learn from this, and especially those small companies who are still starting up and creating their customer experience map and path. Thank you so much on that. I'd also like to ask one more question from that quick, chat that we have had till now. You talked about different channels for customer experience and customer servicing. Now, I have realized that in past few years, we have seen some of the biggest organizations kind of shrinking their channels when it comes to contacting them. I have one name on top of my mind is LinkedIn. They don't really give you an opportunity to call them for each and everything, so they have kind of strategized, created different channels. If you have a technical issue that you are dealing with, you have a different number, different kind of a route to kind of connect with customer experience. If you're having issues with billing, if you're having issues with other kind of questions, then there are different channels that they have created, and you can't really simply call on a customer care line on the switchboard and ask someone to connect them. How does that really work? Because do you think they're shrinking the options to kind of connect for a customer, or it is more on a strategic way, and that's how it really works better for both company and the customer?
Well, that's a great example. And without knowing too much of why they made those decisions, one thing I can say as an observer is they're really siloing the way people can contact. So it sounds like they
Yeah,
have different departments, like they have a billing department, and that's the only questions billing answers. They have
yeah,
technical, that's all that they answer. And so I wonder, Did they choose that because they had a high percentage of call transfers and customers were unhappy with that before? Like maybe they had one
Probably.
line and they would have to continue to transfer around to departments,
Yeah.
or is there a method to this madness, right? Like, I think if you can call billing and get what you need, and then let's say you have another question and they actually transfer you, let's say it's a warm transfer, so the other person already knows the issue and they can help you. If that's effective, then this could totally work. If it's really disconnected, where you call billing and they're like, oh, you have a technical issue too? Cool, you got to call this number. Have fun. Bye. Like, if it's disconnected, then obviously that's not going to work. But I feel like what I'm seeing, as well as, what you're kind of noticing, is customers, or excuse me, businesses are scaling back on the amount of channels they have, not because they're trying to not help customers, but because they're trying to do it more effectively. And so some companies may have had all the social channels and suddenly now they only have one or two and then a phone number. And maybe that's it. Or a lot of companies now are just doing email support. Is that because they have more AI? Like, are there more automated options for finding answers that are more effective? And their people don't need to call in as much, because that also helps this as well. If their knowledge base and their AI capabilities are incredibly robust and can actually answer the question that someone's asking, they may not need all this other stuff. But if it doesn't, that's where the problem comes in. And then the way that they set up these silos and maybe different departments and limited options to contact is going to get them in trouble.
Absolutely. I think it's like walking in a Walmart, and when you have different aisles and you know where to go and where to find stuff. So this is exactly like that. They have created those channels and put those silos for the customers to be able to find the answers to their questions quickly. I think this is what exactly the method to this madness, I believe. And you're absolutely right. I'll move ahead on to this, but a couple of great insights shared by you. Thank you so much on that particular thing. So let's move into the second question, and let's talk about your journey a little bit here. Tell us about those initial obstacles that you had to kind of face in your path of success when you started, and also tell us how did you supersede them.
Wow. Well, there's many obstacles. I'm definitely a flawed human here, and made lots of mistakes in my career. But I think some of the biggest obstacles, they're personal obstacles, as far as like my mindset. I am, I consider myself a retired people or semi-retired people pleaser. So back in the day, early starting out, I realized, ooh, I really like helping people. I'm going to do this 12, 15 hours a day or whatever it was, and then burn myself out. Or, we've all heard of compassion or empathy fatigue. And so just giving so much to others and not taking care of ourselves. That was one of my biggest obstacles that affected me on a personal level, but also at work, where I just necessarily kind of didn't have all of the energy to give to my team, to customers, or to myself, and really burnt out and had to learn lessons along the way. But professionally, I think some of the biggest obstacles that I have faced is really looking at so customer experience from a strategic viewpoint and looking at metrics. I think early on, I was really like, oh, anti numbers. Like, I didn't want to look at the numbers. And I know that sounds so silly, but I'm just being honest that it was just like so boring to me. Like, I majored in English for a reason. I hated math. And like, I didn't want to do anything with anything like number wise. But that set me back sometimes, because I wasn't able to tell. What I learned was the full story of what the customers were saying. And so when I had more guidance and kind of coaching around that, I realized that metrics aren't scary. In fact, they're super cool, because they can help us tell a story in a way that an email or something, necessarily cannot. And while I'm a big advocate for customer feedback, positive and negative, and I love all that and what people actually say, the numbers as well, and learning how to kind of overcome my like personal ew against numbers, really helped me to excel in my career and to advance, honestly, because I was able to do more with that, and to communicate that more to stakeholders and see change happen. If you want to get something new in the contact center that costs money, you got to have the data to prove that it's going to happen. And you have to speak the language of the stakeholders and those people who have the checks. And they do that through numbers. And so knowing how to do that has really helped me advance. And it's helped to improve the customer experience across the board, because I was able to communicate it. So those are kind of the two biggest things that I think I've learned and continue to learn. There's always something to learn about both of those, burnout and metrics, and they kind of sometimes go together, you know.
I think what you really had to face are very common issues with a lot of people, especially when they're starting up and started working in their early days. Because if you're really passionate about something and you start working on that, you put yourself completely into that, and that definitely can burn out, and then you might not have the similar energy next day. And especially when it comes to handling a team, where you also have to transform that energy for them to make sure that they're able to do their best, it's very much needed. So for all those young startups, all those young entrepreneurs, that's a great insight for all of us here. Make sure that you always carry that energy that you need to transform to your team to be able to make sure that they are able to do their best and perform their tasks. And on the second front, when you talked about metrics, I have a quick question on that one for you. So yeah, because this is again a very fascinating thing. When you start getting those numbers, those metrics, they're very cool. They really help you to understand and share a story in a much better way. I'll talk about customer experience a little bit. Some very common metrics that we hear about are NPS and CSAT scores, right? So but I also keep hearing from a lot of companies, and especially those young entrepreneurs, that they at times these numbers are not really reflecting the true metrics for their customers. So it might be saying that it's not too good, but the customers are super happy, or it's kind of vice versa. So how do you think what a very young startup or a very small company should do? Because if they might not have NPS or these CSAT scores right in the beginning, so how they can really judge how good or bad they're doing in terms of customer experience?
Right. Wow, that's a great question. And considering that CSAT, for example, is typically a very low percentage rate as far as replies go, it's not going to give the picture of all of your customers. There may be customers that have bad experiences and just are like, screw this, I'm not replying. And you just never know what they say. So one thing that metrics wise, that kind of lands in both worlds. It lands in the customer experience world and lands in customer service. And I'll kind of tell you why. So and it's a little bit more effort, but I have found it to be extremely helpful. And it really comes down to tagging your support tickets. And so the reason that I say this is it's trend management. And what trend management does is, of course, it helps to squash issues that you see. If you're getting complaints about a specific product and you see that tag rising and rising, something's up. But tags also help to point out trends in a way where it's like, oh, do we have something in our customer journey that isn't working? What is going on? What are the touch points that that particular tag is telling us about that experience? Then you can go in and analyze it on a deeper level. And so by working with customer support, the customer experience team can really look at those numbers as far as like, oh, well, we have 20 bug reports. What's that about? Oh, it's about the same thing. Oh, because people click this button and it doesn't work. Oh, we probably should fix that. And that is part of the journey, because that's a touch point that the customer may have to take to get to a sale or to find their answer or whatever it might be. And so when we really think of when we're starting out, yes, those other things are important. Obviously, satisfaction is crucial, but we want to know exactly what is going on and how we can chip away at the tiniest segments of what people are writing in about. That can really be a great start. Of course, the other thing around that that may not always be helpful is that people are usually only writing in about problems. So you're really only learning about the troubling parts. You're not learning about what you're doing well. So there could be options to send out additional surveys to, maybe if you have a member base or email list or something, to send out surveys around what are we doing right, and kind of get additional feedback, as opposed to just sending out NPS and having a quick rating. Maybe you can find your top 20 customers that have been really with you from the start and interview them. I mean, that could be a great way to get insight about the customer experience. And if you really want your company to succeed, it could be worth it. And, there could be a compensation to them in the form of a free gift or a gift card or something like that. So I think really starting with the tags and chipping away at what people are writing in about could be really helpful. At least I've seen it be helpful for me. So
I'm sure it'll be really helpful, and I think I didn't know about that at all. So I think a lot of our viewers would be making notes right now too. But you can go back and just view the interview once again, make your notes, and how you can really do that. And probably if you have more questions, write us down on the comment section. We'll try to have Jenny answer those questions specifically for you to be able to help. So yes, we are completely open with that. So that's one way that you can really start out, and in that case, your CSAT scores will not be the true reflection of how the customers are really feeling. All right, so that's again a great insight. Thank you so much, Jenny. All right, moving forward onto this. So one quick thing that everyone kind of struggles on is time management. So I want to know, Jenny, what is your time management mantra?
My time management mantra. All right. So my time management mantra is really to not do everything for everyone. And while that sounds very vague and very open-ended, again, kind of going back to the whole burnout thing, like I wanted to do everything for everyone. And time management wise, that meant I was always giving, giving, giving. And so with a lot of coaching and therapy and all kinds of other things of reading and knowledge gaining along the way, and I learned that I have to set that I can't do everything for everyone. And once I set that, I realized that I was able to set the boundaries that I needed around when I say no to someone, it actually means yes to something else. And that helped me to create this time management process where if I have something scheduled on my calendar, that is really when I'm doing that. And, if something else, if a fire comes up in the meantime, obviously I would evaluate if I need to jump to it because I have set priorities. So boundaries, priorities, and the mindset. Mindset is so huge around time management. We could do things all day or say we're going to do things all day, but if we actually don't believe it and our mind, it doesn't shift to acknowledge that we can't do everything, then we will always keep trying to do everything and we'll fail and then we'll be mad at ourselves. And I just was like tired of being in that cycle. So I just stopped doing everything for everyone. I do what I can do and I do it in the best way possible. And I also that also includes time for myself. Like, I have to like be real strategic and schedule it in because it has helped me follow through. And sometimes it's really uncomfortable and it's super uncomfortable to say no to people. Like that's definitely a challenge, but I have found ways that it's like, I can't do that. Basically, I kind of used what I've learned by saying to customers, I can't do that now, but I can do this. We kind of like use this language when we speak to customers around things. And so I'm just very honest and like, here's what I can do and here's when I can do it and really stick to it, follow through. But boundaries and priorities are a big deal around time management. So for any people pleasers watching, just know there's hope. You can set boundaries and it's okay. It's totally okay.
Absolutely. And I think what you just now said also kind of helps us understand that saying no is not always negative. It has the flip side of it, where you're also creating opportunities for your customers to be able to do things in a much better way or in a different manner. So saying no is not that bad always. Let's just take it out of our mindset. Absolutely right, Jenny. Thank you so much for helping us understand that once again. We know that, but I think in the run we're all on the treadmill all the day and all the time. And we kind of forget that, but thank you so much for reiterating that once again. All right, so I'll move on to the next question quickly. And here I would like to request you to kind of share some advices for young professionals in your industry. So what would you advise to young professionals in customer experience industry?
What would I think I guess, all right, I'll start with the first one. In order to take the best care of others, you have to first take the best care of yourself. That is the top advice that I have, because if you really want to support your customers, you have to take care of you. That's really the first one. The second one is to go into customer experience and customer service, whichever one you choose, with this kind of open mind, an ability to kind of color outside the lines and being okay with that. Obviously, with whatever company you work with, following their obviously guidelines around that, but really going into it with an open mind, because people, especially now after everything that's happened over the last year, there's a lot of opportunity to be compassionate and help people solve problems in a creative way that we may not have had to do, 5, 10, 20 years ago. It was very different in customer service. And now I always tell a lot of new customer service agents, like, I wish that I majored in psychology, because that would have helped me a lot to be really good at customer experience, to understand what's going through people's minds, and then to work with them on the front lines in answering their emails and calls and stuff. But I think, like, when we advice wise, just having that open mind and really knowing that people are going to need you for more than just this problem solving sometimes. And how are you going to be able to kind of adapt to that? I think the third piece of advice that I can offer, and this is, let's see, what would it be? I guess it's just, okay, the industry changes a lot. And I think for me, I don't know everything. And so I'm constantly reading. I'm reading blogs. I'm, watching shows like this. I'm listening to podcasts, and I'm really engaging in a lot of conversations on Twitter, for example, or LinkedIn about customer service and customer experience, to learn from these pros who have done it for so many years. Like, even I do this. And so if you're new to customer service, really start dipping your toes into the free knowledge that's out there. Join an online community, CX Accelerator or Support Driven, or 2 Slack communities that you can join and talk with people around the world, and like ask questions to CEOs and all this stuff. And like, it's amazing. And so I think what's really important is knowledge, and just knowing that there is a wealth of information out there now. 16 years ago when I started, that really wasn't the thing. There wasn't much out there. You kind of learn from your boss and your team, and that's kind of where it landed. Now it's endless. And so I encourage anyone who's new to the front lines to really get out there and use the free resources that they have at their fingertips.
Thank you so much, Jenny. 3 great advices. My favorite one was the last one, where and this is something that really does not only implies on one industry, but it's throughout. You have to keep learning, keep improving. You have to be a better version of yourself every day. And that's how you kind of learn. And for all our viewers, I can quickly just remind all of you that in case you want to learn more about customer experience and customer servicing, you can also follow Jenny's blog, which is customerservicelife.com. So you can definitely go ahead and check that out. The link is given in the description below, and you can find more information about that there. One last question about on this quick chat with you, Jenny. Tell us more about your blog. Tell us more about what you actually do on customerservicelife.com. What kind of information and content is available for our viewers there?
Sure. So customerservicelife.com started with me and my former boss. And we were working together at the time, and we realized that our family and friends were really tired of us talking about customer service during non-work hours. And so we needed a place to go talk about this. And so in 2012, Jeremy Watkin, who is the co-founder along with me, we had this idea, like, let's start it. And so we did. And so we write about anything, lessons that we've learned in customer service and customer experience, experiences we've had as customers of other businesses. I write a lot about well-being in the contact center, things that we're doing, articles we'll share, all sorts of things. So it's really a compilation of all different voices from things that we have actually experienced. So I think that's what makes it different. Like, it's not just talking about a specific metric. It's like, we use this metric, and here's what we do, and here's what we learned, and here's the mistakes we've made, and here's all this. So we really, it's very honest on there, and I hope that it can be insightful to someone.
Amazing. Thank you so much for letting us know more about the blog. And I'm sure a lot of viewers would love to quickly go ahead and check all that information that you kind of have shared in past 7-8 years, I believe. So it's going to be, yes, 2012, that's when you started, right? So yeah, there should be a lot of, yeah, so it's been quite a long time. A lot of information must be available for all of us there to kind of learn and implement into our day-to-day routine, and making our customers and feel better, and what we really think about our customers. How do we really take care of them? They should know about it. All right, thank you so much, Jenny. With that, we come to the end of this quick session, but it was a great fun having a quick chat with you and learning a lot of great things about customer service and customer experience. So with that, we come to the end of this session. Thank you so much, Jenny, for sharing such great insights with us. every business needs to take care of their customers to convert them into repeat clients. And you have made us learn a lot of great insights about this. And once again, let's remember that customer experience, customer servicing comes before sale. It's not post the sale. So I just want to, quick repeating that because that's the common mistakes that a lot of us, a lot of you, those young entrepreneurs make. So with that, we come to the end of this session. Thank you so much for your time, Jenny, for joining us at the BizTalk World Talk Show. This is Vinay signing off.